Can you reveal to me a little bit about Jackson's upbringing and his journey so far?
Well, Jackson was he was born prematurely, 2 months, and then during his birth he had a stroke, so he had a lot of complications, and then he spent 3 months in the NICU at the hospital, and then after coming home, he immediately, we received therapy services at home, all kinds of early intervention, and he actually exceeded expectations from day one. The prognosis coming out of the hospital was that Jackson was going to be in a wheelchair and basically profoundly handicapped, unable to function at all, as far as verbally and physically. But today Jackson is in 4th grade and he's able to walk and talk, and he's fairly active. He is on the autism spectrum, and he has some mild cerebral palsy as far as fine motor skill limitations, but otherwise he's been a miracle. He's far exceeded every expectation that we've had.
How did you discover the Red Barn and its services?
My wife she's a school counselor at Mount Brook City Schools, and she had a colleague who had used the Red Barn for a student, and several of the students from Mount Brook had came out here in the early days of the Red Barn for equine therapy and other services, and that's kind of how we found out about it. Was really through her employment at the school system. Otherwise, I didn't know anything about it, and my wife didn't know anything about it previous. It's been a blessing for us. It's probably the most important thing that we do for him outside of school as far as intervention, because it does a lot of things for him, not only physically, just kind of helping him manage his body as far as core muscle strength and riding on a horse and being able to keep his balance, and it helps develop those skills. But more importantly, it teaches him kind of following directions, multi-step directions, and just all kinds of functional things that he can apply to other things, like basically earning his way to the horse, because they teach you to you have to take care of the horse first. They thresh, they groom, they load the saddle, and then you get to ride the horse. And that's very important for him to kind of understand that you have to kind of go through the process instead of just jumping straight on the horse. I feel like it's very valuable for young people to kind of understand that there's a process for all of us to go through to get to where we want to be.
How soon after you started lessons did you see the Red Barn change him?
I would say probably within the first 3 or 4 lessons, early on, just his ability to follow more than one instruction at a time, and kind of being able to plan his task out. We noticed that he was able to do that at home more, and we kind of took on some of the elements of what they do here at the Red Barn at home. We would give him 2 instructions or 3 instructions in sequence, as opposed to what we've done before, where literally you would say, Jackson, put on your left sock. Okay, now put on your right sock. And it was like one thing at a time, because that's all because if you told him 2 things at a time, then he would do the first thing and not the second. But we found that with the Red Barn, he was able to just focus on the instruction and then follow through with multi-step instruction. So that was probably the first thing we noticed.
Is there a particular memory that constantly comes to mind when you think about the Red Barn and his experience?
I think this year in particular, I think just hearing him laugh when he gets to trot with the horse, that's kind of his reward. Near the end of the lesson, he loves to trot, and he just laughs uncontrollably, and he gets to just kind of stand up in the saddle a little bit and ride the horse, and the horse starts to trot. He really loves that. He loves the excitement of doing something that at least he perceives as kind of dangerous, because he's kind of a daredevil. So when the horse starts moving faster, he thinks that's a big deal. Of course, he has lots of support, and there's side handlers beside him, and then somebody on the lead, so he's perfectly safe the whole time. But in his world, he thinks that he's like he's riding a horse like in a
Mhm.
Western, you know,
Mhm.
so he loves that. He's just giggles, and that's probably my favorite memory.
Life different now than it was before Jackson began attending the Red Barn.
I think definitely he's gained some skills that he didn't have before, that I think we can definitely trace just to the Red Barn. Like I said, following multi-step instructions, I think physically his strength overall has improved, his balance, his core control, like his torso and all. He's much more much more stable. He used to be really clumsy walking around. Some of that has to do with his history with having a stroke at birth and having a mild CP, but riding the horses has really strengthened him physically. So I mean, there's definitely been profound changes that we could relate to the Red Barn as far as the help that they've given him. It's a real asset for this community, this entire area of Central Alabama. And I'd love to see it be able to grow tenfold so they can just reach more people. And that's kind of what, when we tell people about it, we try to share that with people, encourage people to spread the word and also to help support it as much as they can, because it really makes a great impact.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot.